Jake Paul fight. What is your reaction when you see that?
I don't really know where to go with this subject, because if I say something, I'm going to get backlash.
Gervonta Davis just posted that he would beat the brakes off of you if you guys fight.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be down. Let's run it. Like, I'd be super, super down.
Is Jake Paul someone you'd want to take on at one point?
Yeah, tell him this is my call out. Jake Paul, what up?
Floyd Mayweather has finally broken his silence on the much-hyped potential showdown between Jake Paul and Gervonta "Tank" Davis, and, as expected, he didn't hold back. In classic Mayweather fashion, the undefeated boxing legend delivered a sharp, calculated response that both dismissed the spectacle element Jake Paul brings and reaffirmed Tank Davis as one of the most dangerous fighters in the sport.
Chapter 1's done tonight. Now we're moving into Chapter 2, and I'm just getting warmed up in this sport. But people hold the Tommy Fury thing against me, but what now? I just beat a former world champion, and I'm coming to avenge that loss as well with Tommy.
Live, only on DAZN, June 28th. Jake Paul versus Chavez Jr. Buy now at DAZN.com/boxing.
With his trademark swagger, Floyd made it clear that while Jake Paul has done well turning social media into dollar signs, stepping into the ring with a killer like Gervonta is a different beast entirely.
Something I'm going to get backlash, because,
Okay.
you know, no matter what I say, it's not.
Okay. So you can't
It's
say
not right. But, well, basically, when you're watching boxing for free, you can have millions and millions and millions, hundreds of millions of views.
Yeah.
But when you're watching Floyd Mayweather, you have to pay.
It's real.
So, I mean, I do pay-per-view. I did pay-per-view numbers.
Floyd Mayweather has consistently criticized Jake Paul's boxing career, expressing doubts about his ability to compete against seasoned professional fighters. In various interviews, Mayweather has stated that Paul cannot face a real fighter, and that once he does, the outcome will not be favorable for Paul. He emphasized that while Paul has been successful against opponents from other combat sports, stepping into the ring with a professional boxer would present a significant challenge.
He told me before his goal is to fight Canelo, so that's, you know, where his mindset's at.
It get fucked up by Canelo. Oh, I'm sorry. It's TMG.
Yeah, you can curse. You can curse.
I apologize, but
No apologize about it.
There's no way he'd get demolished.
Boxing pros weigh in. The moment Jake Paul's name surfaced alongside Gervonta "Tank" Davis, the sports insiders reacted to what it all means for boxing's integrity, future, and business. From top contenders to pundits, the reception ranged from dismissive disdain and ethical concern to pragmatic acceptance of the money and attention a crossover fight brings.
If you do fight, what weight would it be at?
195. It would be an exhibition.
Okay, so it was going to be an exhibition, not sanctioned, but no restrictions. You can knock each other out and shit like that. It was going to be at a catch weight of 195 pounds, 10 rounds, 3 minutes. I've been trying to figure this out. Why was I a Tank hater for wanting to see Tank go up 5 pounds to get some smoke with like Teofimo Lopez or something? I just wanted to see him go up 5 pounds and fight Teofimo Lopez. And all of you are saying, you want Tank hurt, Showbiz. You a hater. You want him hurt. Then I'm convinced, okay, he's too small, but he can fight Jake at 195?
Some critics have blasted the notion of Davis stepping into the ring with Paul as ridiculous and a potential stain on his legacy. One fan on Essentially Sports said, "Tank Davis moving from 135-195 is just pure insanity," calling the idea a clown move and accusing Paul of begging for a payday from the face of boxing. Veteran analyst Paulie Malignaggi questioned Tank's resume, arguing he's avoided the top lightweight contenders and labeling his recent opponents as cherry-picked. Meanwhile, lightweight champion Shakur Stevenson went further, calling it disrespectful to the sport if Davis prioritizes a crossover spectacle over a meaningful unification bout. Together, these voices suggest fans and insiders see little merit and plenty of risk in Tank risking credibility for cash.
Something else that's unfortunate is the idea that Jake Paul might actually fight Gervonta "Tank" Davis. This can't be real. When it came up a couple of months ago, I was like, you know what? I'm not even gonna cover this because there's no way it's real. There's no way they're really gonna do that because it makes no sense. Why would you do that for him? Outside of it, like, okay, you can look at it like an exhibition, which it will be, and we'll take a look at some of the rule set for it. But Gervonta Davis is one of, if not the best, biggest names at 135 pounds and is an active in his prime fighter. I don't want to hear the similar to Floyd and Logan thing because at that point, Floyd was retired. Floyd had done all he needed to do in the sport. Tank is still in his prime, still has multiple high-level opponents that he needs to fight. And you can say, oh, you know, the Jake would be a one-off. Side quest. That's fine, but that just tells me that Tank doesn't care about being a high-level champion in the sport anymore.
Shakur Stevenson has publicly criticized the notion of Gervonta Tank Davis stepping into the ring with Paul before facing him first. He argues such a move would be unfair to his own position in the lightweight hierarchy and to the sport's integrity. Man, Tank is disrespectful to the sport if he chose fighting Jake Paul over fighting with me, Stevenson stated during a Fight Hub TV interview. Shakur is frustrated that Davis might bypass a legitimate unification bout, a true championship clash, and instead opt for a crossover exhibition against a YouTuber. He's emphasized that Tank calling cap on his claim to be the best is not enough. The only way to prove it is by fighting him, not someone outside the sports sphere.
Didn't say you got your eye on Tank. What do you think about the rumors of Tank and Jake fight?
Man, Tank disrespectful to the sport if he choose that over fighting with me. I'm the best fighter in the sport. I've been telling him that. He called cap on it. So if you gonna call cap and say I'm not who I say I am, come prove it.
Gervonta Davis's view of Jake Paul has clearly shifted over time. Initially, he dismissed Paul as nothing more than a loud, attention-seeking spectacle, with Tank publicly scoffing at the idea of Paul in the boxing world. That skepticism persisted even as Paul began to train seriously. But over time, Davis acknowledged that Paul's commitment in the gym marked him as more than a mere internet clown. By late 2023, Davis had come to see Paul as decent, crediting his physical and mental toughness while still stopping short of calling him a top-tier boxer. More recently, after Davis's controversial draw with Lamont Roach, he hinted privately that he could call out Paul for a fight, demonstrating a newfound openness rooted in respect for Paul's work ethic and drawing power, even as he remains aware of the significant weight and skill differences between them.
How about Jake? What do you think of Jake?
Clown. He's a clown. I know that Jake can't fight. He can't fight. So
would you look at it as a joke if your team was like, yo, we want you to fight Jake Paul? Would you be like, come on, man?
I laugh at him. You want me to fight him? At first, I didn't like how Jake Paul was coming because of how he was making it look. But now that I see that, I feel as though he's still a clown because that's his personality. I'm starting to respect it because he's not doing it like for the hype. He's really like trying to be a boxer. I think that he's decent.
Yeah.
Like he's good. I mean, he's not good, but he's going that way.
Is he better than you thought he'd be?
Yeah. Gotta be mentally tough to be in the box. So that's why I don't take that away from some fighters or some people that want to jump into the sport. So just show how tough you are. That's how it should be.
Especially after Jake Paul's convincing win over Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., respect for him within the boxing community has grown substantially. The Anaheim event shattered the venue's gate revenue record, overtaking shows headlined by elite fighters like Canelo Alvarez and Ryan Garcia, signaling massive commercial traction. Esteemed figures such as Oscar de la Hoya now see Paul as serious about boxing, suggesting he could genuinely contend for world titles. Even Manny Pacquiao acknowledged that, regardless of lingering doubts, Paul's dedication cannot be ignored. The fight also elevated his technical credibility, with analysts noting his ability to control the ring and maintain composure in a hostile environment.
Canelo Alvarez fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. We promoted that fight many years ago. Didn't knock him out, couldn't hurt him. So imagine if Jake Paul can hurt or even wobble Chavez Jr. It's something that Canelo didn't do or couldn't do. So Jake Paul, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., it's a real fight. Yeah. Look, people keep talking about Jake Paul, well, he's not a real fighter, this and that. Well, he's fighting a real fighter now in Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. It's going to be a good test for both guys. Obviously, Jake Paul, he's a masterclass promoter in what he does. He's been doing some great things. I mean, Mike Tyson, 60 million people. Fighting Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who, when he trains, when he gets in shape, when he's focused, he will be dangerous for anybody. Look, Canelo Alvarez fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., we promoted that fight many years ago. Didn't knock him out, couldn't hurt him. So imagine if Jake Paul can hurt or even wobble Chavez Jr. It's something that Canelo didn't do or couldn't do. So there's a lot of stories to come out from this, a lot of great stories for Jake Paul. So I just feel honored and proud that we can team up with MVP Promotions, with Jake Paul, and we can make Zurdo Ramirez with Torticos the mandatory. That's going to be a bloodbath in itself. So we're excited.
Jake Paul has officially announced that his second chapter in boxing is just beginning, and this time, he's targeting real boxers across the division. After defeating Andre August, Paul stated he's shifting away from crossover or MMA opponents and is now focused on traditional boxing route, aiming squarely at legitimate pro fighters. He doubled down in a CNN interview, declaring that he plans to fight everybody, particularly the biggest, toughest challenges where he's an underdog and can prove himself in the ring. That resolve extends on his public platforms and interviews. Paul wants to move past spectacle and truly build a boxing legacy, taking on credible opponents to show he belongs in the sport's upper level.
So everybody's been calling you out, Daniel Dubois, Ryan Garcia, all these people. Who's the most enticing to you?
I don't know, like, I want to fight them all, to be honest. I just need the time. So I probably will literally fight all of them. So they're all enticing to me.
9-year-old Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., and it's another win for Jake Paul. He was greeted with boos post-fight after winning his 6th straight fight, calling out anyone and everyone requesting multiple title shots and a possible rematch with Tommy Fury. Jake claims he's just getting warmed up. This was just his 13th professional boxing fight. Back here with Brian Campbell, Danny Vitlani. BC, what did you see? What are your takeaways from this latest bout from Jake Paul?
It kind of depends on what we're judging him. If we're judging Jake Paul as a future cruiserweight title challenger, I'd have to say he has a long way to go. But going 10 rounds against a former champion, even if that former champion is a Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who was 39 years old and really 13 years or so removed from credibility in the ring, at least Jake had to go 10 hard rounds, which was an improvement from some of the 8-round fights he's had earlier. And he had to fight off a somewhat stiff challenge late from a Chavez who pretty much took the first 4 rounds off completely of this fight and really took a long time to heat up and finally get going. I don't mean to be a hater here, but you do have to judge with some knowledge compared to the rest of boxing. It's one thing to be the best celebrity fighter in the world. It's another thing to legitimately climb the ladder and fight for a cruiserweight world title.
Logan Paul has consistently expressed unwavering support for his younger brother Jake Paul throughout his boxing journey. He admires Jake's relentless work ethic and his ability to defy expectations in the ring. Despite Jake's unconventional entry into the sport and the skepticism he faced, Logan believes that Jake's dedication and strategic approach have propelled him to an impressive 11-1 record. Logan often highlights Jake's willingness to face formidable opponents, emphasizing that such bold choices are rare in the boxing world. He acknowledges that while Jake's path has been challenging, his achievements are a testament to his commitment and resilience. Logan's perspective underscores the significance of Jake's accomplishments and the respect he has earned within the boxing community.
My brother has an 11-1 boxing record. The one came from a guy by the name of Tommy Fury.
Yeah, watch that fight.
Jake, obviously, super hungry kid, wants to avenge that loss, but Tommy won't take the fight.
When I lost to Matt Serra, I was obsessed of revenge. So one of the sport psychologists, he made me take a brick and wrote the name Sarah on it. So he made me carry a freaking brick in my training bag. Until the point I couldn't take it anymore. He made me go to the Saint Laurent River and he made me throw the brick. When I did this, it kind of releases me. But my point is that it's awful and it must stink like fucking crazy. But you need to focus on the next task, because that could be a big mistake.
However, before the potential showdown with Jake, Davis is set to face Lamont Roach Jr. in a highly awaited rematch in August 2025 at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. This bout comes after their controversial majority draw on March 1st in Brooklyn, New York, where Davis retained his WBA lightweight title despite a disputed 9th-round incident. The New York State Athletic Commission ruled that the bout would stand as a draw, but the controversy has fueled demand for a definitive outcome. Both fighters have expressed eagerness to settle the score, and the upcoming rematch is expected to be a significant event in the boxing calendar.
Everybody
really think Tank go take the L. I've been seeing it. They said it's over. They think that this time Lamont go in more confident, knowing that basically he can, really take it to Tank. Yeah, I want him to go in there confident. He's very skilled. Go in there confident because you gonna go up against a different Tank. Like I told y'all in previous videos, he go in there confident, thinking he could walk Tank down. Don't forget, with Tank, if he get you on that button, them lights going off. I don't care who you is. Remember how it ended up with Frank Martin? So yeah, don't go in there thinking that you going against like somebody that, like Ryan Garcia, somebody that's go fold. You're going against Gervonta Tank Davis. And I think that confidence is what's going to get Lamont dropped. Because one thing I will say, with Tank, that wasn't your best fight against Lamont, bro. I feel like you was in your head too much. You was overconfident, and you was really just, your mind was in y'all story, the lore and everything with y'all history. You ain't going there like, I'm fighting a stranger. You going there like, oh, this Lamont. This from the same camp. We from the same area. But now I think that whole situation woke him up, because you got to think, Tank not used to losing. He not used to people being against him. He not used to being the one that like got to step back from the situation. That's why I think he being hushed right now, because when he come this time, it ain't no talking. And that's why I think it's scary, because we never see Tank in that mode where he don't say a word. I think this gonna be a different Tank. And what's crazy is Tank used to be like that in the beginning, like when he was with Floyd. Like, I'm talking about Tank with the fade, with the waves, bro. He ain't used to be on that showboat and stuff until he got, like, a little bit more in the boxing, thing. Of course, once you with Floyd, you gonna start being flashy and doing backflips off the ring. But in his beginning stages, dude wasn't playing. He was dropping I think that's what he about to go to, bro. And we know that people like, man, did he take Calvin off his team? Nah, like he said, Calvin, his boy. I think he just rocking with somebody else right now to get him some sharper skills, to change up his skill and what people know him by. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I think Tank go take it to Lamont. And that's not me being biased. I think we ain't never seen Tank like this before. And Lamont, I see your mindset. You keep nagging about that win you should have got. Focus on the new fight. Stop talking about, I should have won. You know why? You know why he's feeling like that? Because that's like one in a lifetime. He feel like nobody got that close. I should have took the belt right there. Now I ain't gonna never get that shot again, because he know that boy Tank done buckled up, done cleaned up his mess, and he ready to go. And it's not the same. It's not the same Tank. You done gave Tank enough time to think about who you are as a boxer and break you down. Yeah, he's cooked. Remember I told y'all what's gonna happen in August. He's cooked. And I feel like Tank, he walking him down. Like, yeah, watch this. I'm about to make an example, because Tank gonna want to be able to tell everybody to shh.
Jake Paul has confirmed that if Gervonta Davis secures a victory in his upcoming rematch against Lamont Roach, they will resume negotiations for a potential exhibition bout, despite a significant weight difference. With Paul fighting at cruiserweight and Davis at lightweight, the proposed match would be a 10-round exhibition. The fight was initially close to finalization, but was delayed due to Davis's draw with Roach. If both fighters win their respective upcoming bouts, the exhibition could take place later this year.
But me and Gervonta were scheduled to fight for sure.
How real, or what was to it with you and Tank actually being the thing? Was that something that was talked about?
Yeah, no, it was highly talked about and in negotiations and almost ready to make happen, but he has to do his rematch with Lamont and get that W, and then we'll be able to run it back. But me and Gervonta were scheduled to fight for sure.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for the latest boxing updates.